Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ditch Witch Diaries. We are here with Raven and Roz, and this time I'm going to be telling you all about a spice. So let's just get cooking good looking, shall we?
Let's do it.
And here we are. We're going to start out with horseradish. The
I love
exciting
horseradish.
horseradish. Exactly.
Yeah,
I love horseradish. It's delicious and yummy.
it's so good. I
Horseradish is
make,
what?
I was just gonna say, one of my favorite things that I make is horseradish mashed potatoes.
Oof, that sounds, oh my gosh. Do you
So
know what I would do right now? I'm so hungry. Do you know what I would do right now for horseradish mashed potatoes? I
oh
would
my
like,
gosh, it's
seriously,
so
like I would
good.
let somebody pound my finger with a hammer. Like I would let somebody, if you told me
Oh
that at the other end of that hammer was horseradish mashed potatoes.
You're like, yeah, hurry up, let's do it so I can eat.
Exactly. So horseradish is there's two names that it's known for, either cochlearia, Armoracia, or Armoracia rusticana. And that's the botanical drawing, not so exciting. But there's AI, and AI is pretty rad. That's not bad actually, because this is what it looks like in real life, because I have it growing and it smells just like you might think when you put your head in there. It smells just like horseradish. And the best is that it was when I put it in the ground, when I transplanted it, it almost all died off. And I like at first thought like, well, I should just get rid of these leaves. But then I left them and they leaves that I thought could not be rehydrated were rehydrated. It was amazing. It was
Wow.
startling. Some of them died, but and new ones sprouted, but it was just beautiful. Anyway, so the parts used are the root. And the other names are Kren, Great Rayfort, Kren, Meerrettich, mountain radish, red coal, or wren. So the English name horseradish, so there's two ways that we look at how this name came about. The first way is from the German word Meerrettich or Meerrettich, which means more radish or stronger radish. And some people say, though, that the English pronounce Meer as Mar, thinking it referred to a horse. So they think that it was like this original name, and then the English like misread it as the mere part as meaning it referred to a horse. And so they changed it to horseradish. Okay, that's one option. So, and the word horse resembles the plant's large size and rough texture. Okay, the other one is that we get the name horseradish because it also might stem from the old school European method of processing horseradish, which included a practice called hoofing, where horses were employed to stamp on the roots, like stamp roots tender before they were grated. So either one or the other. So plant information. So the horseradish is a perennial plant. So perennial means it doesn't die every year. I'm dealing with all my annuals. They're all going to seed right now. So they get really ugly kind of when they go to seed. They get all like rough. So, but perennials don't. Perennials, they stay around, they come back every year. And it's in the cabbage family, and it's native to southeastern Europe and Western Asia. It is believed that it specifically originated in the southern part of Russia and the eastern part of Ukraine. So specifically, we're talking about this Russian area, a place where I'm from. My native
From
heritage.
Russia?
Yeah, that's where my dad, like, so my mom's family's a mutt. They came on the Mayflower, which is no claim to fame, but they're mostly French. But my dad's side of the family is 100% Eastern European, and half of his family were from a place that's now Belarus, and the other half of his family were from more like inland in Russia, like proper, so where Russia is. Yeah. So
Cool.
Yeah. But right away though, we see like interesting things about it being used as a condiment. So in 1542, it was mentioned by Leonhard Fuchs, or whatever, however you say that, in a tome entitled, and I can't even, De Historia Stirpium Commentarii Insignis. Or if we want to just say it in English, it's notable commentaries on the history of plants. So it was mentioned as a condiment even then. More plant information. So interesting is that most recently there's been testing that's been used to create a fire alarm system for the hard of hearing using smell. So, and using like horseradish specifically. Another interesting thing, most of the wasabi that you think you're eating is probably not wasabi. It's probably dyed horseradish. So it does go both ways, depending on like the price of things. But horseradish and wasabi are often substituted for each other. But in America, horseradish is much less expensive. And so often they will just use the horseradish is dyed green, and it's used in place of its more expensive friend, wasabi. And you may at the store find that there's red and white horseradish, but it's all white. The red is just, it comes from adding beet coloring. So there's no such thing as red horseradish. It's all white horseradish. Like red is just us. And if you want to aid in the growth of your fruit trees, especially like your apple trees, you should plant horseradish nearby because it prevents brown rot. So yeah. So lore, stories, and cultural importance. And I love that you said that about worth its weight in gold, because in Greece and Rome, so it was cultivated for back pain and menstrual problems, but the oracle at Delphi was supposed to have told Apollo that horseradish was worth its weight in gold. I know.
There's always a tie-in.
There is. And then, well, there's going to be another one too. So just wait. This is just the first of many. So Pompeii, there are murals depicting horseradish, in fact. So then we go to Egypt, and in 1500 BC, it was being used as an aphrodisiac, and it was being used externally for lower back pain. And then we move to Judaism, because horseradish plays a big important part in Judaism. In the 13th century, it became kind of ensconced in the Seder ritual as maror, or bitter herb, representing the bitterness of slavery. And there is a Yiddish parable that I kind of like these Yiddish parables. Actually, I like parables from all over. They're kind of funny. But this parable says, to a worm in a horseradish, the whole world is a horseradish. So I guess it means like whatever you're in, that's what you think is the whole world. You don't see anything outside of that, even though there could be a whole world outside of you. So a nice little saying, nice little parable. So in Christianity, and first of all, everybody take note of this lovely image of the nails in somebody's hand, okay? Because that's what AI, when I put in what I'm going to tell you, this is what AI spitted back. I love it. So because it's eaten at Easter as a symbol of the nails in Jesus's hand and feet. So there they are, the many nails in his hands. So, and then there's some weird alternative hand that's kind of jutting out. I love it when
I was like, what is that? It looks like broken bones or something.
It's something bad is happening there. Okay, so then in America, so then we pop on in America because it wasn't in America until much later. So North Americans, um, early settlers brought horseradish to North America, and it began cultivating it in the colonies. And it was common in the Northeast by 1806, and it grew wild near Boston by 1840. In the 1800s, the Sass family started cultivating it in Illinois, whatever. And then in 1868, Heinz actually started bottling it. So Heinz produced this horseradish recipe, and it was based on his mother's recipe, and he bottled it in clear glass, which people just didn't do at the time because he wanted to show how high quality and pure the horseradish was. And so he wanted you to be able to see how white it was and pure. So in England, in jolly old England. So I probably should have put this in reverse order because we're kind of going back in time now. Because in England, the horseradish came to England during the Renaissance. And by originally, it's just was consumed by country folk and laborers. But literally by the end of that century, horseradish was the standard fare for beef and accompaniment for beef and for oysters for Englishmen. And it is to this day. People use it as a common condiment all the time. And then the English also used to grow this pungent root. They used to grow it along the road at inns, country inns, at different stagecoach stations. And then they would make these cocktails and cordials that were supposed to revive weary travelers using horseradish, using the horseradish. So then Blondie that's like an early American comic strip. And Blondie, Dagwood had these sandwiches. He was always eating a sandwich. And in one of the strips, he famously says to Blondie, "My kingdom for some horseradish." So whatever that means to you. So let's go to the correspondences. And the deities, we only have one, and it's a dude, but I put it in here because it's his name. His name is horseradish. Kren is the name for horseradish, and he's the Russian god of wisdom. So the element is fire, which I agree on. And I think a lot of the spices probably are fiery. The planet is the sun, again. The astrological sign is either Aries or Scorpio. And I don't know why for Scorpio, but...
because of the sting.
Oh, probably. Oh, yeah, that's 100% why. Good one. That tail flipping over. The Sabbat or holidays are going to be Yule or Passover, one or the other. And here are the magical properties. So purification, exorcism, banishing, hex breaking, and reversal spells. So for hex breaking, you want to dry it and grind it and sprinkle it around your house to break hexes. If you want empowerment, this is a good herb for you. Money. And this is an herb that wasn't attached to that whole dried spice because it grew in other places. It grew fine everywhere. You didn't have to enslave groups of people because the plant only grew in that one island and had to be smuggled off. So this is used for money. I'm always interested in herbs that are used for money that aren't in that variety. And for money, you want to put a piece of the horseradish in your wallet on New Year's for abundance and wealth all year long. It's supposed to dispel negativity and give lots of passion. So that fiery passion again, not love, but lusty passion, right? So now for the medical things. So the medical properties. It's an antibiotic, an antiseptic, an aperient, a carminative, a diaphoretic, a diuretic, an expectorant, a mild laxative, a rubefacient, and a stimulant. So it's going to help your stomach, a lot of carminative, all these things, mild laxative, all these things. It's going to help digestion. It's also going to help with colds and flus. Think about it. It clears your sinuses. It would help me immediately if I have clogged sinuses. So to get this property, you could make a horseradish syrup. Sounds a little gross, but let's go through it. 1 tablespoon of the grated root steeped in 1 cup of boiling water, and you cover it for 2 hours. You strain it, and then you're going to add your honey or sugar, and you heat it up until it's syrupy. As a decongestant, you can just chew about a tablespoon of that grated root. Can you imagine? Here, have some. Mixed with 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. My gosh, I can't even imagine that mouthful. But sure, go ahead. I mean, my gosh, more power to you if you can take that.
It probably works.
I'm sure. Yeah, like I said, of course it decongests you. This is like the perfect decongestant. It's good for persistent cough and sore throat. More medical benefits. It's supposed to boost your immunity in small, regular doses. It's supposed to raise your resistance. And you can use it externally. Of course, the old rheumatism cure as a poultice. And for chest complaints, you can make like a pack. What are they called when those, it's like a poultice, but it's like a, what do they call those? Like when you make like almost like a mud pack or a mustard on your, they used to use, on your chest. I forgot.
I thought it was called a poultice.
There's a difference. It is. I think it's called something else though, when it's like, I don't know. I'll think of it later. Circulation problems. So it's supposed to stimulate the circulatory system and stimulates the nervous system when it's steeped in wine. And it is very strongly diuretic. So it's good for UTIs. And you can put it on your face as well. So if you use it on your face and you put it in milk first, you can use it to cleanse and rejuvenate your face. And if you steep it in vinegar, it's supposed to remove freckles. So there's the sources that I have. Okay, let me stop the share. Okay. So I hope you guys all liked horseradish and learned something exciting about that lovely root. And we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.